Claire. Hello, Chris, everyone. I got my tickets to see David Gray in Newcastle with my sister-in-law. So can you step it up at Newcastle a bit?
Oh, definitely. I've got history up there.
Come on, tell us about that.
Yeah, the family. You know, I once said, stood on the stage in Newcastle and said, yeah, my grandfather's from around here, South Shields, and they actually booed me. Because if you're in Newcastle and you say that, it's the wrong thing to say.
Martin Frinton on Sea 25 years ago asked my mum for a Craig David album for Christmas. She got me David Gray instead. I was gutted, but I've been listening to it ever since. It's a good story, isn't it?
David, when I was growing up, my mum and dad listening to music. My dad used to listen to that record, Atlantic Crossing, a lot, and it's very nostalgic for me. So I think it has a sort of different level of sort of meaning for me.
They just say it's the travel, don't they? Which is why residencies are coming more into vogue and
sure,
things like that. Yeah. Fancy a residency anywhere?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. I'm not a Vegas kind of guy, so definitely not.
It doesn't have to be Vegas.
Where else maybe Blackpool.
Virgin Radio.
Oh, well, happy Friday, everyone. Riff Magazine, Dear Life. Here we go. Dear Life is proof that some things only get better with age. Clash Magazine, Dear Life is a love letter to life and all its intricacies. David takes us on a fascinating journey exploring the human condition in the most captivating and meaningful way. The Daily Mail, his patience has paid off handsomely. Here we go. Grain remains musically grounded. Irish Times, lean into this raw, bumpy album. It is well worth the effort. You can't buy those, can you? You can't buy not for sale, those kind of reviews.
I haven't heard all this, Chris.
Got to be happy, though.
I'm waiting for the bad one.
No.
Don't read that one out.
Not going to happen, my friend. Never going to happen. But sweet music to your ears, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's good and only right. It's the best record I've made in a long time. It's got it all going on.
And you can say that of your own music because you have the perspective to do so. Why so?
That's an interesting thing. I don't know. More grist to the mill, perhaps. I don't know why the odd record comes out with more of a spring in its step. This one was sort of dislocated by the whole COVID process. So maybe that was a sort of a period of enrichment when we all had to stop and the sort of horizon of action disappeared. We just had the time and the people around us and a sort of mortality graph to contemplate. So maybe some of that sort of played into it. Getting a bit older, it tweaked its funny bone.
Yeah, and you've always been at ease with things, you know, as far in my experience anyway. You know, you've never taken things seriously at all. You've taken your art seriously, but then when you bring it into a show like this, you're like, well, it is what it is, and if it sells, it sells, and blah, blah, blah. And that comes across. It's so beautiful. You are about to get on a plane. Where are you going?
I'm going to America first. First stop, America, North America. What could possibly go wrong? That place has got its feet on the ground. So, yeah, we start with the first show in Boston next week, on Thursday.
Oh, my gosh. What a time to be alive.
Exactly.
DavidGray.com. You can go to Boston if you want. I don't know if there's any tickets available. But he then lands back in the UK in March, as far as this tour is concerned. March 13, we're picking up on this world tour, about, 20-odd dates in, Portsmouth, UK Guildhall, and then the subsequent dates, all in March, Brighton and Swansea and Bath and Oxford and Newcastle, Stockton, Glasgow, Nottingham, Manchester, Sheffield, Llandudno, then Leicester and Liverpool, Birmingham, London, Dublin, Brussels, and then off to, Brussels, Amsterdam, sort of mainland Europe. It's all good in the hood. DavidGray.com, some tickets still available. Actually, loads of them are sold out, aren't they?
Yeah, it's gone super well.
You didn't need to get up this morning. I've just looked. There's 2 tickets in Portsmouth, 6 in Newcastle. There's some in Sheffield, but all those other dates that I've just mentioned have sold out. I should have read on, shouldn't I? Leicester sold out, Liverpool sold out, London sold out, Dublin, Birmingham, Symphony Hall, a couple of tickets left for that, etc., etc., etc. It's all good though, isn't it? It's all great, man.
It's going to go. It's going to go.
I didn't realise. I've never really looked at your discography record for record before. A lot of albums in, man. I mean, hundreds of songs. When did you ever want to earn a living doing this? When did you think that dream might become a reality? Speak to all that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think I sort of made a decision to definitely do the music thing over the art. I was studying art in Liverpool. First demo I ever made, we sent it into the Manchester Evening News, and a guy called John Slater reviewed it, gave it a good review, and he put it on to his mate who was an A&R man in Liverpool and said, check these guys out. He happened to be working for Polydor, for my manager who'd just taken a job there.
Wow.
My manager to be. So actually that very first demo got got into the hands of one complete nutcase, and my career began. So my journey into the industry began at that moment, and then basically I moved down to London and just got on with it, got a publishing deal, then a record deal, and off I went.
Was that when David Gray met David Joseph?
David Joseph was a bit later.
Was he? Okay. Great guy, though. Great. Knew how to run a record label. Is he in charge of the world now, David Joseph?
Apparently so.
I think he might
he's
be.
one of them.
I think he might be. No, also cool. Great to have you here. Wonderful for you to be back on the road. Tell us about Talia. Good morning, Talia.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Graham, fantastic. Because you talked about, like, us before, David Gray as a band, David Gray and a band.
As a unit, and Talia's become a part of that big time. So I needed a voice for the track we just played. And Talia's got the perfect voice, something with character and soul and a bit of and she can get down onto the low notes and make those parts work. So it's been a lovely thing.
Well, Talia, you're very welcome. And the album's out today, which is all very, very exciting. I listened to it last night. I was on my own. I had that sort of me time. And I've been listening to quite a lot of Nick Drake recently on vinyl in the gym, which is so bizarre because it's sort of not at all on Jimmy, but it's very sort of stretchy.
Yeah, very slow, jogging.
And I listened to track 8, that day must surely come. I thought, there's a bit of Nick Drake going on here. I mean, can I just say that?
Oh yeah, I love that song. I mean, that's the song on this record that dropped out of the sky.
No way! Look at that, goosebumps. She's talking about it. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, because some songs feel like they've been in you for a long time, waiting to be born.
Yeah.
And all that stuff I just said about COVID and mortality and everything. So this I spoke to all that stuff, but in a kind of it just the way it happened and revealed itself in just so fast and so delicately. All the imagery just fell.
Yeah.
It was a remarkable thing. I was working on something completely different and just started to play this chord sequence and thought, hang on a minute, and that song just came down. So, and then recording it was exactly the same. I just said to my producer, you've got to come down, we've got to record this. And we just recorded it, and 2 hours later we were finished.
I thought on the album, that's the most otherworldly track.
Thanks. Yeah, it's the sort of gravitational centre of the small cosmos that I've created.
Yeah, it transcended a bit.
Quote. Unquote. David
I
Gray.
love it. So you are literally back on the PR tour. This is a big promo week. You're on Joe Wiley's show on Wednesday. Maida Vale. Big up to Maida Vale.
Yeah, amazing.
How was that? Was it good?
What a building that is.
Unbelievable.
And just amazing. I can't believe it's going to go. So
crazy. But it's not going to go. Is it? It's just been
it's been changed. It's been translated into a new reality, isn't it?
Have you been to what's it called? The Worm? Is it called the Worm? Or the Snail?
I've worked with the Worm, but
yeah, I've worked with many worms. I had some snakes, and they've worked with me. I don't know who had the worst end of the deal there. Touch and go. No, there's a place in there, and I think it's called the Worm or the Snake or the something, and it's a spiral. It's a spiraled corridor.
Right.
Which the BBC...
I'm seeing Daleks straight away.
Not far off. Designed as part of their Foley department. You know, the Foley artists who put sound effects on drama.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a spiraling corridor that if you run down it, it sounds like you're falling off a cliff, and that's what they used to use it for.
Wow. Good fact.
Have you never been?
That added to the bread. I mean, I'm feeling my intellect enriched just from sitting here for half an hour.
You've got to go. If you get to go to Maida Vale again, people go, oh, you want to go there?
No,
fine.
I want to ask about it. I mean, there's obviously the Peel room, and then there's the beautiful, the sort of bigger room, then the orchestral room.
Yeah.
It's nuts. The place is nuts.
Well, maybe it's an inner circle thing. I mean, I'd been there for 12 years before I knew about it. But do you remember it now?
Yeah,
talking about it.
We did a couple of weeks of shows there while they did the air conditioning at Wogan House.
It's crazy, wasn't it?
And
Crazy.
They built our studio out of wood.
So back on the PR trail. So what's it been like? I mean, you got to pace yourself, haven't you? Or do you just throw everything at the wall on a week like this? And because this is the culmination of it. The album's out today.
I think, I've had my kind of game face on for a while. I've been ready. I knew what was coming down the tracks. It's been absolutely relentless this week. Yeah. I think it's just the different sort of stratospheres that you've got to kind of operate
on the campaign trail.
It's quite random,
Yeah.
So, I've enjoyed it. Chris, I'm absolutely determined to enjoy the whole process.
Yeah.
Because often you're sort of in rehearsals, and you've got the album. Everything drops at the same time. You're like completely exhausted and strung out and trying to think too many thoughts. But this time, I'm just determined to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I can still do it. I can still do it the way I want to do it,
Yeah.
and the fans still want this. Obviously, that's what the tickets have told me. So this is something to just take huge pleasure in.
I want to drive the tour. I've got my my bus license. I want to drive the tour bus across America: Boston, Philadelphia, Washington, New York, New Jersey, Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis, Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, Oakland, Highland, Los Angeles, Valley Center, Salt Lake, Denver, Austin, Dallas, Atlanta, Nashville. I mean, I just wanted to go on that road trip.
Wow, yeah. When we finish at the Ryman Auditorium. So we start at this amazing venue in Boston, and we finish at the Ryman, which is the Grand Ole Opry as it was. And when you're on that, like backstage there, the history of that place, it's like a little church. It's got all these pews. I don't know if you've ever been.
No, I've never been to Nashville.
It is.
Never been to Nashville.
It's nuts. It's the old Nashville. So you've got Johnny Cash's suit. You've got, Hank Williams' suit. They're all in these little glass cases backstage. It's nuts. You've got photos of Dolly and them all doing the thing, and woo!
And it really happened.
Oh, you get the goosebumps when you walk in there. So,
and you start the MGM Music Hall at Fenway. It's so romantic, isn't it? You can say what we like about America, but there's a lot of romance in these road trips going on there.
Well, there's so much musical history, and it's something that there's a kind of living sort of thing for them, like a part of their history that they're very actively into sort of live music. So it's an amazing thing. I've toured them. This must be like the 35th, maybe 40th time I've gone round.
Right.
They've put a lot of time in as well over there to building those relationships. It's a giant act of turning up in America. There's no shortcut.
Yeah, relationships run the world, and everybody thinks differently.
Totally,
good luck with that. It's going to come back and bite you. What do we do now?
Wow. I mean, that speaks for a different place, doesn't it?
What do we do now? Oh, God. We just David Grade. How's it feel?
Yeah.
Just totally grade.
Yeah.
Forgot he does this.
Grade A.
Oh, gosh. Thanks for that, mate. I can't carry on with the show now. I just want to go off and just fly up to heaven. God. Anybody want to get out of heaven? Yeah, I'll get out of heaven. I'll get out of heaven. What's the next up you don't want to know? Okay, I'll get out here then. Thanks, David. That was absolutely off the chain. Off the chain, off the chain, off the chain. Doesn't have to be better, and if it's brilliant, it can still get better. Whoa. Where do we go with all this? David Gray at the top of the tower. Good morning, Nick in Beckenham. Lucky enough to get tickets last night. Off the chain. Joe and Steve, just want to say thank you so much to David Gray for last night. Well, Joe and Steve, you've asked us, I think today's the day, mate.
What, just the day?
No, today's the day. We've got to give our wages back. We can't get paid for what... We can't get paid to just watch him do that. We can't be paid for this.
I know.
We can't be paid
This
to...
is
We can't be paid
insane.
to be here. Today's the first day we've got to say, fair enough, have the wages back, have them given to somebody else. I don't know, we can't... Kirsty now got David Gray, fantastic at Blenheim Palace. It was a fab backdrop for his incredibly nostalgic music. Can't wait for the new album. Well, it's out now. You don't have to wait anymore. It's out today. Claire, hello, Chris, everyone. I got my tickets to see David Gray in Newcastle with my sister-in-law. So can you step it up at Newcastle a bit?
Oh, definitely.
Thank you, especially for Claire.
I've got history up there.
Come on, tell us about that.
Yeah, the family. I once said, stood on stage in Newcastle and said, my grandfather's from around here, South Shields, and they actually booed me. Because if you're in Newcastle and you say that, it's the wrong thing to say.
Are you a Mackham in South Shields?
I don't think so. No, you're some sort of borderline kind of...
Even worse.
Gosh.
Yeah. What's worse than a Mackham? South Shields.
It's where the Great North Run ends.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
And we know why. We don't talk about it. Paul in Somerset, I've been following Dave from way back when. So much so you call him Dave, Paul. I love all his work. He is awesome. He is truly awesome. David, thank you so much for being here today. Talia, thanks for coming with him as well. And good luck with the tour. And davidgray.com for tickets. You can still get tickets. Apparently, there's one ticket left now for his UK tour. Why don't you see if you can get it? Davidgray.com. Apparently, you brought something else. And you got something else up your pinstripe sleeve this morning.
If you like, Chris, if you like.
What have you got for us?
I'll do a little cover for you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I really don't want to talk about it, so please don't talk to me about it. You can't stop talking. I don't want to talk about it.
Why do you think about it? Is it true you learned that just before we came on the air?
I know the song, Chris. I know the song. I haven't played it in a good old few years, and I've never played it on the piano, but there you go. As you could hear at the end, there was a bit of improvisation creeping in.
Well, if only that was our best, your worst. It's quite incredible. Martin Frinton on C 25 years ago asked my mum for a Craig David album for Christmas. She got me David Gray instead. I was gutted, but I've been listening to it ever since. It's a good story, isn't it?
David.
Terry from David Gray, phenomenal, great performance. OMG. Asabin and I love David Gray. Catherine from Loggerheads used to listen to this album. You got to go see him. Maxine and Darren from South Kent. That's not South Kent, that's SALF, South Kent. From the top of the tower, loving this. Great last night, great this morning, great voice, just great. JP from Winchester, so much emotion in David's voice. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, you do have that voice, don't you? You do have that voice that says more than the lyrics having a word with us about. I mean, you must be aware of that. Why did you pick that song to play for us this
It's a
morning?
song that means a lot to me, so it's a nice little default one. When I was growing up, my mum and dad listening to music, my dad used to listen to that record, Atlantic Crossing, a lot, and it's very nostalgic for me. So I think it has a sort of different level of sort of meaning for me. Yeah. I mean, Rod was at his absolute sort of star pomp peak at that point, you know. It was, as my friend says, there's a sort of dividing line when he started wearing his wife's clothes, which was just at that point he was just starting to try them on.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah, in fact, well, these days as well. It's all that stuff is well in.
But also, you got to wander off the path.
100%.
Just to check it's definitely the right one.
It's an incredible song. I believe it went to number one. It kept the Sex Pistols off number one. There's a conspiracy theory about it. Do you know about it?
There's conspiracies theory about anything.
Oh, I know. I think it was God Save the Queen that was kept off number one.
Fascist regime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were beautiful, absolutely beautiful song.
And he's 80 years and going strong, going great guns.
Unbelievable.
Tom's now in his 9th decade. Tom Jones, Paul McCartney, 82, absolutely smashing it. There's plenty of time for us, yeah. Seriously. I've had to redress my future going, oh, okay. Because we were saying this today about the fact that this is the first time ever we've been alive to see the legends live long enough to carry on being the legends and not just be part of history.
Yeah. It's amazing how all those guys have kept going. I mean, touring ain't easy on the body. They put the gear in a flight case, but you're just on your own, mate.
Yeah, they just say it's the travel, don't they? Which is why residencies are coming more into vogue and things like that.
Yeah.
Fancy a residency anywhere?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. I'm not a Vegas kind of guy, so I'm definitely not.
It doesn't have to be Vegas. It can be Scar Vegas, can't it? where else
maybe
is there? Blackpool.
Yeah.
Wonderful. David, great to see you. I won't keep any longer than I need to. New album's out today. It's absolutely wonderful. Tour tickets available, as I say. We've got it all going on. Vassos, just recap. Get the cheat sheet out there, will you? So you can do it more concisely than I'm about to butcher it. Okay.
So tour dates: March the 13th, Portsmouth, Guildhall. Some tickets available. Then Brighton sold out, Swansea sold out, Bath sold out, Oxford sold out, Newcastle. Some tickets available. I think 2. Stockton, Glasgow, Nottingham, Manchester sold out. Sheffield, a couple of tickets. Llandudno sold out. As is Leicester, as is Liverpool, as is the Royal Albert Hall in London, as is Dublin in Ireland.
Sold out,
but
really.
You can basically go and see David if you're on your own and you don't mind squeezing in at the back in Birmingham on April the 1st.
Yeah, but if you've got really big hair, try not to sit in front of loads of little people. It's really annoying. DavidGray.com for everything David Gray. Dear Life out today. Great to see you. Talia, thank you so much indeed.
Thanks,
you're awesome.
Chris.
Can we hit it one more time for David and Talia?
Very kind.
Absolutely awesome. Coming up next, the rest of the show.